Hey guys, what's happening? I'm Patrick.
And I'm Allie.
Welcome to Work Our Way, a podcast about our travels through Australia in our van called Fatty, talking about comedy, content creation, and
Travel
in our relationship.
Woo! Nice to see you guys.
Yeah, good to see you guys.
You'll notice that the camera is working again. What's up, guys?
What's
We're
up
back.
over there?
After 3 episodes of no filming, we finally have the camera working. It's good to go. You're going to see us. We're in a house. It's great.
Yeah, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, you should check out our YouTube videos, our YouTube channel, which has YouTube videos.
Yeah, they got all sorts of videos.
Yeah, every kind of video you
Yep.
could want, but it has specifically ours of these podcasts and some of the other content we created. Guys, I've been checking out the numbers, and we had a massive drop-off in the last 2 episodes.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened.
Everyone was like, we subscribe to this podcast for Pat's comedy and to hear Allie agree with everything he says, not to hear about the Australian bushfires.
Yeah, you're bumming us out. Okay, so we're not doing anything to help anybody else out again, because that is hurting our numbers.
No, that was a huge hit. No more volunteering ever again.
Yeah. Our audience does not like that.
Yeah, and we know our audience, so...
But
sorry,
those of you guys who are sticking around, we love you. Thank you. But we only have a handful of you guys that have left a review. So get on the iTunes thing or wherever you guys are listening to the podcast. Review our shit. Subscribe to it. Leave a 5-star. Don't negative it.
Don't negative it.
Yeah, don't negative it, please.
And let us know what you want to hear more of. Like, if this isn't your jam, if you're like, yawn, I don't want to hear about XYZ, just hit us up.
Yeah. Yeah, we're very accessible. And we're not going to do any more volunteering because you guys don't like it. And we're just fine with that.
Sorry about that.
Yes, we're just fine with that.
Learned our lesson. Oh, my God.
Yeah, this was a wild week. Yeah, we were kind of all over the map this week.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time in Sydney, which is where we're currently hanging out. But we also took a trip up north. We hit up a couple of cities along the coast.
We needed it. Oh, well, I needed it. I needed to get out of Sydney after my first epic bomb here.
Oh, boy. Yeah, this was a bomb.
Should we start there?
Yeah, might as well. Let's start on a low. Speaking of lows,
Yeah.
you guys, we know you love that kind of content. You want to hear this.
Yeah, rough. So we had a couple of errands to run before I did my set. It was a set at Magic Mike Comedy at a hotel. Do you remember the name of the place?
No.
I guess it kind of doesn't matter. Yeah, no need to speak ill of it. It was nobody's fault but mine. Host crushed, the other acts crushed. I just we ran some errands and we stopped and we grabbed lunch and we grabbed a snack at a Mexican food place. By the way, the Mexican food places here, we've been to a couple in Sydney, in Australia overall, and there hasn't been one Mexican working there.
No.
Yeah.
Not a single one.
Not to be trusted, these Mexican places. Anyway, they made a good margarita.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
5 stars on the margaritas. So we ended up having 2 jugs of it.
Yeah, I drank probably just a little bit too much, and then I went over to the gig, and Allie was going to some other event.
Sydney.
Yeah, that she crushed. And while I was waiting, I was kind of getting my notes together, figuring out what I was going to say and what I was going to talk about. And I had another beer, and I think that just made me just drunk enough to be bad at everything. And I fucking ate ass up there. I sucked. Oh my God. I got a couple of laughs, but the whole time, like, I could feel, I was like, I haven't connected with the audience at all. They're just staring at me, and I'm not behind my jokes. I stuttered on a couple, like I flubbed the words, and I was just in my head.
Well, didn't you try to like address a heckler, and you just looked super?
I just looked awful. I looked bad. I tried to handle a heckler, it didn't go well. I just had a bad set, and like it's not that I didn't get laughs. I got a couple of laughs. I was just not in the pocket at all for any of it. I bombed. I felt like I was bombing while it was happening, and the crowd was good. They were energetic. They wanted to laugh, and I just didn't give them a reason to.
Oh man, that sucks. I wish I could have been there, not to see it, but just Can maybe give you a hug after or something.
Yeah, I mean, I still got laughs, and I like got off the stage and I went over to the host, and I was like, man, I ate penises up there. That was awful. And he was just like, oh, good, man. Who cares? And I was like, I do. I want to jump headfirst into a wood chipper right now. This is fucking horrific.
Oh my God. But meanwhile, those 2 jugs of margaritas were everything that I needed to absolutely crush the event that I was at.
Damn it.
We parted ways. I went to North Sydney. I was there for like a travel hub panel and seminar. So like the who's who of Australian tourism leadership were there, and they were on a panel, and I asked a couple questions, and everyone loved me, and they were in line to meet me. And I felt really cool because I had to at one point be like, guys, I'm sorry, I would love to stay, but I have to go to my fiance's comedy show. And everyone's like, oh, that's so cool, because I had no idea what was actually happening.
Yeah, meanwhile, I'm becoming an honorary member of ISIS. I'm bombing so bad. My beard's getting longer. I was like Osama bin Lettin him down.
Oh my God. But it was a cool flex. I felt cool saying that out loud.
Yeah.
People were like, wait, who's your fiance? And I'm like,
have we ever heard of him? And you're like, you never will. You never will.
Oh, but it was great. I got free drinks, free food. People were just, they were loving it. It was great.
Wow.
Felt
yeah.
really good.
We had a real yin and yang evening.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
That was Sydney. that was the last part of Sydney before we took a much needed break up north.
Oh my God. Yeah. I was shell shocked. I had to get out of the city.
Yeah. And we did.
We did.
We went to the dumbest little town in Australia.
Oh my
called
God.
Nimbin.
Nimbin. You want to see it? You know, here's the unfortunate thing about marijuana being illegal is that hippies just think it's a personality trait. They're just like, oh, you know, like they don't evolve past we like wearing marijuana t-shirts and having dreadlocks. It was just a bunch of people, I would say from about 25 and older. Mm-hmm. All of them look like, I don't know. Help me out here.
It was as if Lisa Frank designed a town in Colorado. Everything was just over the top. It was like hippie flags. Every store had the word hemp in it. Tie-dye, swirly colored t-shirts. It's just, and like the music, it was like some douchey yogi Spotify playlist on repeat everywhere you went.
Yeah.
And it was just
didgeridoo. How about that?
Opals everywhere, incense. It was just very over the top.
I saw like 2 young Indian couples walking, and they were walking towards us, and I saw this older man with dreadlocks, older white guy with dreadlocks, who was just sitting there shirtless, drinking a cup of coffee, and I think smoking a joint. And the 2 Indian couples walked past. And the guy just looked over at him, and they made eye contact, and he just goes, "Hey man, namaste."
And they're like, "What?"
And they're like, "Huh?" Oh yeah, namaste to you as well. That's some corny shit, man.
Oh my God,
that is some corny ass shit.
Oh yeah, and we were only there for really just. We got there super late at night. We found a place to incognito camp, and then we got breakfast in Nimbin, and then headed to Crescent Head. It man, those few hours there were just...
Yeah.
They were weird.
They were weird. There was we went to a coffee shop where it was clear that they were just selling weed over there.
Yeah.
You just make eye contact with another white guy who's got an unkempt beard. I guess I fit in a little bit in Nimbin now.
Yeah, maybe they thought you were selling.
Yeah, and they just give you the cowabunga hand signal. I don't know what the fist with their thumb and the pinky out.
Yep.
Hang 10 or whatever. And that's the hey, you want to buy pot signal. And the cops started walking around, and they got mad at this kid for drinking beers. They didn't really just seem to be almost like a little Amsterdam of Australia.
Yeah, it was really interesting because in this cafe, which was basically located in a cloud of marijuana smoke.
Yeah.
The cops came by. No one stopped what they were doing. Like, no one ran away. It was just, and the cops were there. They knew what was happening, but they were like, oh, but we're actually here to yell at this kid for having 2 open beers.
Yeah. Don't be drinking these beers where people are selling drugs, kid.
It was so weird. It was, I don't know. But hey, it's a bucket list item. Crossed off the list.
Checked it off the list.
There you go.
But yeah, if marijuana ever gets legalized, Nimbin's going to have no claim to fame.
No, it'll be
Just
a ghost town.
it's just a bunch of dirty people.
Yeah. Truly. Like, every single person had dreads. I mean, there were dogs everywhere.
Yeah, it was corny.
It was just, like I said, over the top. I don't know.
It's tacky. All right, Nimbin. It's a little tacky.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
You can just like marijuana without letting it be a part of your life, I think. You can make it not a personality trait and just have it be something you like.
It's their whole identity, though.
Clearly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Like I said, it's like the tie-dye shirts with the giant weed plants
exactly.
in the middle.
It couldn't get any more stereotypical up there. That's what I mean by tacky.
Oh my God. Just be cool, guys.
Yeah, we couldn't find a place to camp either. We tried to get in. So all these campgrounds, they close at 5 or 7, somewhere around that. And if we were coming in, and it was a little dark when we got in, we pulled into the first place, tried calling the number that said if you're here after hours, but it was midnight.
It was midnight, but why even have that sign if you're not going to let people call you after hours, you know? So I called this number and I'm like, hey, we're here. Can we stay here? And straight up, the guy was like, no. And then hung up.
Yeah. Hey, can someone let us in here? It's like, nope. And we're like, oh, okie dokie.
All right. Then I guess we're pulling over to the side of the road.
Yep. So we found some little spot to pass out on the side of the road. Nobody bothered us. Because we weren't drinking 2 beers. That's the limit for the cops in Nimbin.
Oh, yeah.
Then we grabbed breakfast. Saw the Namaste boy. Mm-hmm. Namaste man.
Yeah.
And then left.
Peaced out.
And we did that little hippie bullshit. And then was just like, you know what? Let's do more hippie bullshit.
Let's just go right into a whole weekend of it.
Yeah.
At Crescent Head.
Crescent Head Vanlife meetup.
Yep. So it was one of the Vanlife meetups. There is an organization that we follow on Instagram called Vanlife Diaries, and they also have meetups in the States. But this was their big one for Australia. So they're like, if you're in Australia and you have a van, you have to come to Crescent Head. We'll hook you up. It'll be a whole weekend of events. Just show up. We'll take care of you. So we're like, okay, cool. We get to meet people. We haven't really seen any other van life people since starting our journey because we've just been kind of off the beaten path a little bit.
Yeah, nobody goes west. We found out nobody goes west on their van life journey. Everybody stays on the East Coast.
That's it, which is crazy.
Yeah,
so we're
them.
like, whatever, let's meet some van life people. So we went, and boy, oh boy, from the very start.
Yeah, we thought Nimbin was corny. Shit.
We had to go to we got there, I think we rolled in around 4 or 5, and there was a mandatory meeting in the big circle at 7 that we went to.
Oh my God.
And people showed up. They brought their little chairs. So we brought ours, and we're like, okay, they're going to tell us what's up for the weekend.
So a couple of days, I guess, maybe a week before we went, we booked tickets for it, and it said there's events, there's you can do music, we have shows, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh shit, maybe if there's another comedian going, there'd be an opportunity to put on some type of comedy show. I'm still looking for stage time, so just hit up the guys running the function, and I was like, if there's another comedian, could probably do some comedy. And then I heard back a couple of days after saying, there's an open mic, which was okay, yeah, I'm not going to do a mixed music open mic of comedy. So I just it'll be a weekend off. I won't be doing any comedy.
Did you tell them that?
No, of course not. They just said open mic. It didn't sound like they wanted it. And I was very fine not
responding. Well, that hurt us when we showed up
to
the meeting, because we sit there and they're like, here's what we got going on. If you want, on Saturday morning, we have 3 hours of a breathing exercise going on.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my God. That was the funniest. This girl gets up and she starts giving the presentation like a pharmaceutical rep. She was just like, yep, so we can do this. It'll improve your blood flow and obviously your breathing. And it's like it's a whole breathing class. And I'm sitting there like, I'm pretty sure I'm breathing now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I got it. And she was like, yeah, and this is there are some contraindications, which is the pharmaceutical rep word for side effects.
Oh, she said that word.
Yeah.
It's too big of a word for me. I just zoned out during that part.
So contraindications are like bad things that could happen to you, side effects.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just like, if you have heart disease or, you got a dead lung in there, if you're on, whatever is what she was saying. She was like, and this is a journeyman apprentice something or other for sound healing. Mm-hmm. And he was just like, yep, but you got to tell me. He was like completely shit the bed on his. He was like, if you have any issues, like you have to tell me because we could hurt you doing this. And everybody was like, huh? With sound? What are you going to yell in my ears?
Yeah.
Play the didgeridoo too hard at me?
So weird. The events that they had were not normal events. I was like, maybe they'll have yoga. Maybe they'll have, I don't know, something normal. No, it was like the weirdest, craziest, most benign events. Benign. Okay.
Weirdest, craziest, but also benign.
But the best part after all of that, they were like, hey, the one normal event we do have is an open mic. We have it every night. And I heard a little birdie told us that there's a comedian here.
And I was just
where's he at?
Uh-oh.
Raise your hand if you're the comedian.
They say raise your hand. It's just like, but there is a comedian. He starts like looking around the whole area. And I was like, don't move, Al. Do not move. I want to die. This is mortifying.
And then they were like, does anyone want to tell a joke? Anyone have a joke? Like, it was so cringe. And so we avoided the open mics. We didn't go at all.
Nice.
Not a single one. And that was
for my health.
That was that. We also didn't go to the breathing exercises. We didn't really do any events. We just kind of hung out with our neighbors.
Met some friends, our neighbor friends. They were pretty cool.
They were, yeah. It was 2 girls. They're just traveling along. They said they had been traveling together in separate vans for like 10 years.
Well, okay, so they're best friends and they travel together.
Yeah.
So, like, they still have jobs. They called themselves weekend warriors, so they're not true van lifers.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and we're like, well, neither are we. We're just not a weekend. We're doing this semi-long term, but never again, probably.
About as temporary as they get.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Van part of our life. This is just the van part of our life.
Exactly.
Well, van life, from what I gathered at the gathering, van life is just people who chose to live in a van because they are good looking and they expected life to be easier. That's just my overall vibe. Just a bunch of people who haven't yet committed to marijuana being the only character trait that they have. But they're on their way.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting because the way that we've done van life is obviously very different than the way most people do van life, because for us to do what we want to do job-wise, like filmmaking and comedy, we have to be near a city, which is like the worst. Like, you can't do van life in a city.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. So a lot of these people, they post up on a beach or on a campground near the beach, and they just surf in the morning and hang out the rest of the day. And they do that like every single day.
All day.
So I don't know. It's a lot more slow living than the way that we've been doing it, because we've been all over. We've been like crushing the road trips, just driving at hours upon hours each day to get to where we need to go. Most people don't do that. They're like, oh, wow, I came all the way from Brisbane and that was a trek for me. You guys went to Nimbin and back in a day? That's nuts. Like,
oh, yeah. It's too much driving.
There it is.
Yeah, he's back.
I missed it.
Driving helps plants grow.
Oh yeah, but yeah. So it's interesting that it was cool to meet them. It was cool to meet people who are actually doing van life. I feel a little bit like a fraud after that weekend because I'm like, we're not really doing it like these guys are doing it. It's different.
Now I feel like we're mo hard at van life than they are.
Why's that?
Well, because they just sit around and play their djembes and didgeridoos all day.
There was one time we were walking by the big circle, and it was like, it's this little open area that's surrounded by trees. So when you walk by it, you kind of only get a glimpse of what's going on. But people were like doing hand exercises. They were like putting their hands on each other. They were like, and just like stretching and dancing.
They look like weather vanes. They look like They look like human weather vanes. They're just their arms were going in opposite directions and they were pivoting at the waist, and you're just watching them. Like, what the fuck?
I've been doing yoga for a minute and I've never seen any of those poses ever in my life. The way they were bending, and I was like, oh, that can't be good.
Yeah, it looked like a football referee's class. Their just arms were just opposite, turning on the offense. Unnecessary roughness, pushing it back.
But in slow motion.
Intentional grounding. Yeah.
Yeah.
The two trance music. Just someone rubbing a wet towel on a gong. That's it. Like, these guys are a bunch of kooks.
What did we get ourselves into? That's all I could think about the whole time. Oh, I saw my first huntsman spider. That was fun.
Yeah.
It was in the women's bathroom, and I don't know why, but I got out of the stall. I went straight to the sink. I just looked at the sink, washed my hands, and then looked up at the mirror, and boom, there it was, right in my face.
Do a 360,
big old
360
huntsman.
Surroundings check of everywhere all the time.
Oh, I don't.
Yeah, I do.
Very narrow focus.
Yeah.
But it was, that was fun. That was cool. Check that box too. Just checking everything off the bucket list this weekend. Mosquitoes
were bad.
Oh, really bad.
They call them mozzies.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Yeah.
And what's the other one? The, oh, God. The smaller version?
Mozzies?
No, there's like a smaller version that they, I'm trying to think of what the actual American word for it is.
A gnat?
No.
Okay.
It'll come to me.
Okay.
It'll come to me.
All right.
I'm a little bit afraid to say it because it sounds like another word that is, you know what I'm talking about?
No, I have no idea what you're talking about. And now
I feel like I need to look it up.
Okay.
But
I'll bring us to the next topic.
Okay, let's talk about
the beach.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
While I look up this.
So we went to the beach. There was a beautiful beach. Great surfing, but the waves weren't great the day we were out there, so we didn't do any surfing. That's
why I was nervous to say it.
Berry bugs?
No, that's the name. That's the
chiggers. Yeah, that's right there on the line. That's a tough. I don't feel good about saying chiggers. I don't feel
okay. But there it is. That's the word. That's what they got
call
out
them
there.
Berry bugs.
But chiggers for short.
Yeah. Too close, Australians.
Yeah,
get it together.
Oh yeah, so beach day.
The beach day.
Yep.
So we went to the beach, and I love the ocean, but I am always on high alert when we go into the ocean in Australia. The first thing I think about is sharks, and I think about it the entire time I'm in there, and I'm always searching and I'm scanning for sharks. And we went in the first time. It was a hot day, so we kept going into the water. First time we go in, no issues.
Oh yeah, having a great time. Yep. I'm getting over my fear of the ocean day by day.
Come in, get out.
Yeah,
no problem. Second time we go in,
it gets a little weird. We're jumping over waves. We're just having a good time. And on the top of one of the waves coming in, I thought I saw like a stingray tail on top of the water. Then right below was like this really dark moving spot. And I was like, I don't know what this is, but I feel like we need to get out. So I'm like, Pat, fuck this, we're getting out. And I didn't tell you what I thought it was until we got to the beach. And you're like, what, did you think you saw a shark? And I was like, no, I think maybe it was a stingray. And you're like, that's weird. And I was like, that is weird. How often do you just see stingrays in the waves doing that in the ocean?
I thought she saw a shark.
I wasn't sure what I saw. I was like, this doesn't make any sense. Maybe I just saw a stick. I don't know. I started second guessing myself. I was like, Allie, you need to chill out. Yep. It's fine. Everything's fine. So we go back in.
like another hour goes by. So we get hot on the sand again, and we decide to go back in. Mm-hmm. And we're hanging, whatever, cooling off, frolicking in the water.
Yep.
I'm still staring out, looking for sharks. And Allie sees something.
I see it again.
Off to the side. And she's like, Pat, look over there. And I look, and I see what looks like a fin. And it's about parallel to the shore with us, maybe 50 meters, no, probably 30 meters away. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, fuck.
This is exactly the videos that you see with shark attacks. This is how it looks. The sharks are like close to shore. There's people all around. And we're like, okay, this is...
Yeah, and I see it flop up again. And I was like, okay, that doesn't quite look like a shark fin. And I keep watching, and we are moving judiciously with a purpose. We're not running.
You were moving with a purpose. I was very scared. I was like, we need to get out of the water.
Are you saying I was running?
No, I was. Oh. You were moving with a purpose. You were like chill, calm. Well,
I have a theory that if there's a predator around and you start sprinting, that's what prey does. Mm-hmm. That's what a predator wants is prey. So if you act like prey, I feel like you're more likely to get bit. Plus, there's that old saying that the first one in an emergency who panics dies.
That's me.
Yeah, I was just making sure, like, don't panic, don't act like prey, keep your eye on whatever this thing is, so you can see if it comes at you. And I don't know what to do then, but be an athlete, Pat. So I'm just looking at it, and I'm trying to see what it is. And I keep seeing the thing like flop up, and I'm like, okay, that's probably not a shark fin. That's not what shark fins do. And it's very light, and on the edge, it's very dark. Mm-hmm. But it does look like a fin when it pops up. And it dawns on me like, oh my God, that is a stingray. That is a big ass stingray. And there's a couple of them.
Yeah, there were two.
And they were moving around. But like before I got to stingray, my brain was just like process of elimination, trying to figure out what it was. I thought it might have been a baby orca fin flopping up.
We were going to rescue an orca.
Yep, that was and then I was to be an athlete, Pat, rescue this orca. Free Willy.
Yeah. I wish that would have been way cooler.
It would have been way, way cooler. But anyway, still not 100% sure that it was a stingray. Still not 100% sure it wasn't a shark. We're still moving out of the water, and we get out of the water, and we're like getting closer to it. Now we're just walking about shin deep in the water, and we see clearly that it's a couple of stingrays, and there's people just beyond it. We're talking like 10 meters away from these two huge 6-foot wingspan.
Huge, yeah.
Yeah, that's almost 2 meters for our international listeners. Hey, that one's for you guys.
Yep.
But they were like surfing in the waves. So like a mini wave would come in, and they would just kind of ride it, just sitting in the middle. Like they were
body surfing.
They were having some fun. Yeah, they were pulling an old Big Ray from Philadelphia, body surfing it all the way into the sand.
Yeah, Big Ray.
Big R from the PH.
Oh, so that was fun. Scary. Very scary.
Yeah.
I thought it was a shark.
I for sure thought it was a shark. That was my first instinct.
Yeah. Well, at least we would have died together. I guess that's
I mean, I think I would have died. I think I was in savior mode.
Well, I'm very lucky to have you. But yeah. I think we still would have died.
Plus, I think I'm a little bit tastier of a meal to the sharks.
Why is that?
Because you're not that meaty. You're nothing but fucking knees and ankles and elbows.
I'm all bones.
Yeah,
the bony part of a chicken.
Tasty rib cage. I'm a thick meal. I'm a thick shake. The meat melts off my bones.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm a pot roast.
Oh, great.
I know if I were a shark, I'd rather eat me.
Cool.
Yeah.
Little sausage roll pat.
Yeah. King size sausage roll.
Yep.
You are what you eat. All right.
Oh,
So that was our beach day. We went in one more time after that, just to let the sharks make sure they didn't get the better of us.
Mm-hmm.
Not gonna get punked out by some stingray.
Yeah. And that was fun. That was great.
Yeah.
We had a good time.
And then we came back to Sydney, rejuvenated, with a little bit more perspective, a little bit more hate for the hippies. I think the camera just went off. I'll hold that.
Thanks.
We came back to Sydney. Oh my God, the drive was fucking brutal. I'll tell you what. In traffic, you don't get the window. Like, we don't have an air conditioner in Fatty, which it really bums me out sometimes.
Oh, God.
When the sun's beating down on you and you're stuck in traffic and there's nowhere to go, my brain just boils. It was brutal. I was agitated.
Oh, yeah. And the traffic was bad. So it's stop and go traffic. The sun's out. You're roasted and fatty.
Yeah, Fatty is getting roasted and fatty. I'm the fatty there.
It was rough, but we made it. We made it in one piece, and now we're back in Darling Point.
Yeah, loving it.
Loving it.
What have we done since we've been back?
Ooh, last night you had another show.
I did have another show. I redeemed myself a little, but only a little.
Yeah, it was a gay bar in...
I'm not sure it was a gay bar.
neighborhood?
I think there was just a large amount of gays right when we got there. But I think it filled out. It did. At least from when I was up there, I saw quite a bit of like people on dates, hetero breeders, if you will, gays, non-gays.
Well, it was definitely the gay neighborhood. It was Soho, and they had just gotten done doing
they don't have a
their
Soho.
parade.
They don't have an actual Soho. They just got places that they call Soho hairdressers or Soho laundromat. But Soho is south of Houston.
Yeah,
so
but
there's no Houston. There's no south of it. There's no Soho.
Oh, it seems like every sign that I saw said Soho in some regard in this area. So I just assumed it was like the gay neighborhood. There were flags everywhere. There were shops everywhere.
I do think it is the gay. It certainly seems like the gay part
district.
of town. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, that doesn't mean. I think Soho's just a trendy place in New York, and I don't know what it's like in England. But if it's trendy there too. Mm-hmm. Then I imagine it makes for a good name for a hairdresser. But it's funny what you thought it meant.
Well, I didn't think that. I was making a joke. I was like, every Soho I've ever been around the world in every major city is always the gay district. So I wonder
this isn't
if
a district.
I wonder if it
we weren't
stands...
in a place called Soho.
Well, okay. I don't know what area it is. I'll have to Google it later. But
It was. I do.
Okay. Okay, it wasn't Soho. I'm sorry.
We were in Potts Point by King's Cross.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't. So Soho is a specific place in New York.
Yeah.
It's also a specific place in London.
Yeah.
It's not a specific place anywhere there isn't a Houston.
Oh, okay. Well.
So you have to be south of Houston for it to be Soho.
Yeah.
Soho.
Yeah.
So. South.
I got it.
Ho.
I got it.
Houston. Okay.
All right, let's move on.
All right. Well, anyway, Allie thought Soho meant so homo.
It was a joke. I was making
absolutely
a joke.
hilarious.
I was making a joke. Oh, but yeah, let's talk more about your show there.
Okay. Yeah, the show went okay. I was stiff, but my jokes were good. Mm-hmm. After any time I bomb bad, I end up like tearing my set to shreds and trying to like rewrite the whole thing. So I was a little rigid just because I was fresh off a bomb, not fresh getting on stage. So it'd been a couple of days. And most of my material had been like reworked or tinkered to be a little bit different. So I wanted to make sure I was just in my head. So it was just a little rigid. But the laughs were there. Good crowd, hot crowd.
Yeah.
Fun show. Super pumped to be on it. It was a good time.
It was really cool, and I was very appreciative. The last couple of shows have been like this, where they're just an hour for the most part. Like, you have your first bracket, which is like, how many acts were in the first bracket? Just 3, right? 3 or 4?
It was the host who did 10.
Yep.
Then I opened, that's just a tough spot to be
That
into.
is tough.
So that could have accounted a little bit of my jitters or why I felt stiff. Then there was that female that I can't remember, that Singaporean dude who was very funny.
Oh, so funny.
And the girl in the white shirt.
Gotcha. So 4 total.
5 if you include the host who
Okay.
did 10. Did a host set, yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, they've felt shorter. I know some of the shows that we go to, they last for a while. And I remember in Melbourne, some of the open mics were like 3 brackets.
Yeah.
So long.
And the first 2 brackets are booked. Yeah, not an open mic.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel like it's easier to go to a good comedy show if it's just a little shorter.
Yeah, I mean, we left about halfway through, just being pretty dog tired. We left after the first bracket was finished, said our goodbyes.
And that was that.
So, I mean, we don't know how long the show went.
Yeah, I guess I just assumed they would.
Well, we left at about 9:15. The show started at 8, and we left after the first bracket. So we'd already been there for over an hour, and then they were just starting the second bracket.
Mm-hmm. Well, they had a late start. I remember that.
No, they started at 8:03.
Really?
Yeah, they tried to start very, very sharp. So this was at Cafe Lounge in the Soho district.
I'm going to look that up. Soho, Sydney. I'm going to see
It's
what
not.
it says.
It was the name of the hairdresser on the opposite side of the street.
Still looking it up.
Okay.
But yeah, no, really cool neighborhood. And I'm so bummed because the weekend that we decided to go to Crescent Head for our little van life outing was the same weekend that they had the huge Mardi Gras parade in Sydney on Oxford Street in that district. So I'm super bummed. I mean, they still had signs up that were like, the roads are going to be closed. You know, they had just all these bands and events, and we missed all of it. For didgeridoos and
someone clamping rocks together as medicine. Clapping rocks by your face as medicine.
To relieve stress.
Yeah. Fuck away from me.
Oh my god. Yeah.
So, and then what? Oh, we've been trying to get back in shape. We did some running today. We ran to the Opera House, which is kind of nice.
So cool. Yeah, we're close enough where just a 5K away is the Opera House. So we just ran there, ran up the steps. And then
did it like Rocky, right up those steps.
Oh, it was so cool. And hopefully in the next week, we'll go to a show there. Yeah. So, I mean, really excited. Very cool to see the Opera House up close and personal. Definitely recommend if you guys are in Sydney.
I think everybody does.
I think
I think the Opera House
might actually be the only thing to do here.
Yeah, it's pretty well represented on everything about Australia is the Opera House. So if you're in Sydney, check out this novel thing. I think they call it the Sydney Opera House. It looks crazy. All right, guys. We're about wrapping it up.
Do you want to do the question?
No, we'll save the question. Yeah, we'll give them a short and sweet one so we can come back
stronger than ever.
But we need your inputs, guys. So a couple of things we're considering to spice it up, to keep people interested and engaged. We might... I might play one of my sets from the previous week where we tear it apart. You guys can hear some of my comedy, and it won't be all the time awesome, and you can help me live through the misery of occasionally bombing, and hear some of my jokes. And then you can write in with any feedback you got about that. Not that I really care about your opinion as it pertains to my comedy, but we'd love to still hear from you. We do want to hear about what you guys want to hear about. So write in, tell us
Honestly.
what you guys find interesting, and we can do a little bit more of that as we taper and get a little bit better at this going forward.
Yeah. Do you want to hear more about comedy? Do you want to hear more about travel, van life? I mean, just give it to us.
Yeah,
Like, let
engage
us
with
know.
us so we can engage with you.
Exactly. Couple things coming up that I'll plug. So last week I was featured on a podcast, Rediscover the Will. I'll throw it back up on our Insta stories if you
Nice.
guys want to check that out. I listened to it the other day. It's not as cringy as the one coming up is. I was interviewed on a business podcast that I was so very unprepared for, and I bombed so bad. So I'll plug that one too. That one should be coming out in the next 2 weeks, but oh my God, it's going to be, that's one of the ones you got to listen to as a part of like a drinking game, I think. Like
Yeah.
maybe drink every time I second guess myself or say say yeah, or just, it's so bad. It's really like the most cringy
Don't
thing
listen to that
ever.
one.
But I'll be open and honest. If you want to, whatever, that's fine. And I also have a shoot coming up. I got a really weird gig that I'm looking forward to, but I'm like, this is going to be the weirdest shoot I've ever done. It's for a company that specializes in helping people get over their fear of flying. And it's going to require me to wear like a virtual reality headset through a bunch of airports in Australia. So
Nerd
I'll
alert.
let you guys know how that goes, because that's going to be a wild ride. But that's
Hopefully
all.
it won't be a wild ride. If it's a wild ride, I don't think they're going to use your footage to help people get over the fear of flying.
Yeah, well, it's just going to be super weird. That my body is going to be what people see when they start this program, just looking around at airport or airplane. So I don't know.
Good thing you got your nails done.
For real, yeah. Shout out to Tosh. Thank you. But yeah, that's what I got coming up for shoots this week. What do you got?
Biggest thing I got coming up is 5 minutes at the Comedy Store at a showcase this Saturday. That's the 7th of March. If you guys are in Sydney, that is going to be a banger of a show. And I promise I won't bomb that one. All right. So that's the biggest thing I got. I think that's everything for you.
That's it. Yeah, check us out on Instagram, Work Our Way. Give us a shout on email, workourwaypodcast@gmail.com. Check out our website, workourway.com. Everything's there. And check us out on YouTube.
Yeah.
All of this stuff is finally going up after months of just living on my computer. So, I think we're on episode 13 on YouTube right now.
Yeah.
Hopefully in the next week, we'll have everything on YouTube. So give that a look as well.
Hell yeah. And guys, challenge for you out there. If you guys are devout listeners, try and get somebody else to listen to us.
real.
Send the podcast to somebody you think that might enjoy this, and keep spreading the good word.
Yeah, or asked to borrow their phone.
And just subscribe. Do
Yeah,
it.
for
Do
real.
it without their knowledge.
That's honestly better.
Yep.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. Thank you guys. Love you. See you next time.
See ya.